What is the deal, beautiful people? It's your boy Ramon, also known as Uncle Rizza around here. Before I get started, let me just let you guys know that this review will be aired on both channels. And for those of you who don't know what that means, we have a technology focused channel, which is Lifestyles Defined. Technology, fashion, other things going on there. A lot of dope stuff, photography even. And then we have Ignorant Gamers, which is where we do our hardcore gaming and a lot of our gaming videos and topics and reviews and so on and so forth. So depending on where you see this, check the link in the comment section, in the description section below to get to the other channel to check out a lot more of our stuff. We are working hard. So yeah, let's talk about the KronosMax. The KronosMax is the solution to a very interesting problem I've had for a while. I've had a PlayStation 1, was a very big fan of my PlayStation 1. I veered off with the PlayStation 2 because I was a Dreamcast fan, and in the interim I went from Dreamcast to Xbox, and I became accustomed to a bigger controller, something that filled out my hands a little more. And I'm a big guy, right? So it just makes sense for me. And then, you know, the Dreamcast had the triggers, and the Xbox took that heritage and ran with it, because as Snow would say, the Dreamcast is the Xbox 1.0. And I find it hard. I've always found it hard to go back to the DualShock controller. For many various reasons, but a lot of it had to do with the thumbsticks. The thumbsticks absolutely drove me nuts. So when I bought my PlayStation 3, as much as I loved that thing for media consumption and the powerhouse that it was, I just could not game on it because that mushroom thumbstick was just not cutting it for me. And what I mean by not cutting it is, I'm a very intense dude. I put a lot of wear and tear on my controls, especially when playing first-person shooters and racers. Man, I beat the hell out of my controls. A lot of pressure for sure. And the concave shape of the Xbox controller, I find works best for me, gives me maximum grip when I'm gaming really hard. When I try to duplicate that, or when I get into it on a PlayStation game, I find myself having to reset my thumb all the time, and I couldn't do it. It was so annoying. Sony, however, and I always gave them props for this, went to town on the PlayStation 4's controller. I think it's called the DS4 still. They did a much better job with the design, not only from bringing it up to a really much more meaty controller to hold, a lot more surface to grip, but they also addressed the issue of the thumbstick, or what was an issue for me. But it's still not there. As dope as the DualShock 4 is, I still prefer my Xbox controller by a long shot. So this is where the the KronosMax comes into play. You know, I probably would play my PlayStation a lot more, especially when I get to hang out with Snow and a lot of the other IGZ fans on the PlayStation. You know, I want to get into it and I want to join the fun, but I can't deal with that controller for long periods of time. And a lot of people thought I was trolling when I said this, and Snow actually came over one day and he watched me play it, and he was like, dude, your hands really aren't built for that. So I've longed for a solution to use my Xbox controller on the PlayStation. And, you know, I've been checking in years at a time for something, and I'd see something here and there, and I just always thought it was too cumbersome. And then I ran across the Kronos. And this is actually the second iteration of it. They had one out in the market about a year and a half ago. But this one, I understand, is a lot better, and it's a lot more widely supported in the hardware. So with this guy, pretty much all it does is it lets you use whatever controller on whatever console, right? And there are some caveats in there, some stipulations, but that's the bottom line here. And I am very happy to report to you that it works. So much so that the newer version, this guy has a auto function out the box. So what you pretty much need to do is just plug it in to the console and then plug the USB cable in, and then from the other end of the USB cable into whatever control, and that's it, you're done. Now let's say you want to go a little bit further. It allows you to plug it up to the computer, your laptop, whatever, and you can actually dial in a lot more settings, a lot more mods, and you can fine tune a lot of the stuff. We're talking you can have it set where when you push all the way up on the controller in your games, that means run. When you go halfway, they walk. A little simple things like that I think are dope. With that power also comes great responsibility. And what I mean is, while watching a video of KronosMax and what it offers, I saw something I really didn't like. They refer to it as mods. What this thing does is it allows you to add further mods when you customize it through their software to do things like recoil reduction, rapid fire. It's pretty much some cheating ass shit. I really don't like that, and it's one of those things where with great power comes great responsibility. So yes, I now have the ability to use my Xbox controller on my PlayStation, and might I add, it's a very fluid experience. There is no difference. There's even ways to get around needing to access the touchpad, and there's some very clever things they've done here with button configurations, but by no means does that mean I should enable recoil reduction and go play Rainbow Six and fuck everybody in the room up. Like, no, that's not cool. That part of it I don't like. Now, what I do like is, again, I can plug this thing into my Wii U. I can use my PlayStation 4 controller on the Xbox. That's such a beautiful thing for gamers, especially because we all have our own preferences, right? And you know, you should be able to really use your hardware wherever you want. And I know in a perfect world, that's what would happen here. In real life, not so much so. So I feel like the KronosMax does a really good job at exactly what they said it would do, and I would recommend it to anyone. And this thing can get fairly complex, right? Like, there's this thing where these controllers need to be authenticated. Pretty much the PlayStation or the Xbox wants to know that you're not fucking around. So it has this thing where every 10 minutes for 10 seconds, it'll re-authenticate the controller. So the controller goes dead for 10 seconds every 10 minutes. The way around that is, the KronosMax has an LED that it starts to flash to let you know, hey, you got 3 minutes before that happened. Would you like to do it now? Hey, you got 2 minutes. Hey, you got 1 minute. And the way you do it is a button config, right? So I think it's something like hold the select button and press RB, and that then resets it. And that's something simple to do if you're playing Battlefield, you're hiding behind something, you're waiting to respawn. You know, it becomes muscle memory. And I thought that was a very clever way to get around the technicalities of what's going on here. And the PC software gets so complex, and then there's a community of people out there who create these different profiles for these different games. So a lot of thought goes into what is already out there, so it makes it even easier for you to just jump right in, download a profile, and rock out. It's dope. It's dope. I highly recommend it. Check out, I got mine at Best Buy. I think it was like $60 or something. I don't know what it was. And this thing even works for some of the older steering wheels. Although I've read that with the older steering wheels and the newer consoles, there are some input lags. And I've also read that it's been getting better with the firmware updates and with some of the profiles the communities are putting out there. So if you were in the same boat that I was, where you wanted to use a specific controller on another console it was not meant for, check out the KronosMax. You know, it doesn't get much better than this. The thing even has the ability to set up the Bluetooth for the Wii and the PlayStation 4. So that's super dope, right? And it's hard for the Xbox to do it because the Xbox has got their own proprietary wireless signal, whatever that's using. But hey, can't say enough good things about this. Super dope purchase. If you're into gaming, if you're like me, Snow, where you have an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Wii, a PC, this is a tool that you should definitely have in your toolkit. My name is Ramon. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe for more content just like it. I'm out of here. Peace.